The saying goes that south of 40s there's no law, and south of 50s there's no God.
Today, the FCC now slapping Dish Network with a $150,000 fine for failing to properly dispose of one of their TV satellites.
Researchers have found that nearly half of all geostationary satellites are transmitting unencrypted data, including consumer, corporate, and even military information.
The saying in astronomy that telescopes are time machines.
Well, traffic jams on roads are not new, but traffic in space, well, that's unheard of, but soon this could turn into reality.
Inside the space graveyard, where satellites go to die. When your time is up on Earth, you get a tombstone and maybe some flowers. But when a satellite dies, it burns through the atmosphere, explodes in flames, and dives into the Pacific Ocean. Welcome to the space graveyard, the final resting place of human technology. It's called Point Nemo, which in Latin means no one. Fitting because not a single soul lives anywhere near it.
They're going to crash it into the Pacific Ocean in a specific area called Point Nemo.
Years of spatial exploration have left the outer atmosphere cluttered with countless pieces of metal and debris, and experts estimate that this could cause a catastrophic event if it goes out of control.
Point Nemo, where dreams go to die. Point Nemo is the most remote place on Earth, 2,688 kilometers from any land. The closest humans are astronauts flying over it. It's so lonely even seagulls get lost trying to find it. This is where dead satellites, space stations, and rocket parts are deliberately sent to crash. Over 260 of them rest down there, including Russia's Mir space station. That's 120 tons of flaming metal meeting salt water. It's like the heavens vomiting hardware.
So the satellite called EchoStar 7 was supposed to have been put into what's called a disposable orbit, which is basically an out-of-the-way corner of space serving as a sort of interstellar junkyard, if you will.
Satellite imagery is critical to hurricane forecasting, but as space expert and meteorologist Dan Bill reports, a failing set of satellites has raised some serious concern.
The disposal plan. Every satellite has what's called a disposal plan. Engineers plan its death before it's even launched. They calculate the orbit, decay rate, and re-entry angle, basically pre-writing its obituary. NASA calls it controlled re-entry. Translation: we hope it doesn't land on your grandma's house. If they do it right, the satellite burns up completely. If they don't, the leftovers plunge into Point Nemo. You can almost hear the ocean whisper, "Another one." The flaming descent. When re-entry happens, it's pure chaos. A billion-dollar fireball screaming through the sky at 25,000 kilometers per hour. It burns, cracks, and explodes until nothing remains but plasma and regret. The big ones, though, they survive. They splash into Point Nemo like meteorites of human failure. It's beautiful. It's horrifying. It's the most expensive fireworks show on Earth. The residents of the graveyard Mir is there. Old Progress cargo ships are there. Dead satellites from the US, Russia, Japan, and China, all stacked together at the bottom of the Pacific. It's the most expensive junkyard in history. Somewhere down there, a fish is living inside a Soviet space capsule like it's a studio apartment. Welcome to Mir BNB. It's poetic, really. We reached for the stars and ended up sinking to the bottom of the ocean. The engineers of death. NASA has actual people called disposal engineers. Their job is to kill satellites, and carefully. They sip coffee, type on supercomputers, and decide when and how a billion-dollar object will die. They plan it like a royal wedding, but instead of champagne and tiaras, it's plasma trails and melted aluminum. One engineer said, "We plan for graceful decay." Graceful decay? That's the most beautiful way to say, we're crashing this thing on purpose. When it goes wrong, but sometimes things don't go according to plan. In 1979, Skylab skipped Point Nemo and crashed into Australia. The Aussies fined NASA $400 for littering. Then in 2021, a 23-ton Chinese rocket fell back to Earth uncontrollably. The entire planet tracked it live like a global episode of Will It Hit Me? Even now, re-entries happen all the time. Pieces of space junk burn over the atmosphere every few days. Most go unnoticed. Some light up the night sky, and one day, one's gonna miss. Because math is great until it's not.
A so-called space station graveyard lies far into the southern Pacific Ocean, a unique place as desolate, remote, and mysterious as space itself.
As a result, the Earth is surrounded by a cloud of debris. There are more than 18,000 objects being tracked from the ground. At least 750,000 fragments of around €1 in size, and millions of pieces that are smaller.
Turns out there is another way to probe the past, and that's by studying what are basically cosmic graveyards.
The ghosts that never left. Not everything gets a funeral. Thousands of dead satellites just stay up there spinning forever. They're zombies, drifting relics of past missions. They reflect sunlight, send random pings, and occasionally crash into each other. NASA's tracking 27,000 of them, but millions more are too small to see. Space isn't a frontier anymore. It's a haunted house.
Well, there are always objects. The question is whether we see unusual activity. And in fact, I tasked my research team at the Galileo project to monitor the sky for any unusual activity, because it's possible that if it's a alien probe, that in fact it would release some mini probes that will visit the planets.
Yeah.
You know, we should not assume anything. It's a blind date and we should watch the other side.
When I was growing up, the subject of the rapture just scared the living daylights out of me. Every year, we had a week of revival meetings when an evangelist would come.
Aliens are watching. You know aliens are flying by, watching flaming metal crash into the Pacific, thinking, these idiots launched technology into space and then threw it into the ocean. We're like toddlers with fireworks, amazed, proud, and absolutely not in control. The future of space burials companies are already offering space burials for human ashes. That's right. One day, your remains could join the satellites at Point Nemo. Imagine telling someone in heaven, yeah, I got cremated, launched into orbit, and now I'm living with a Soviet robot fish. Elon Musk will probably sell luxury ocean re-entry packages. $10 million for a private splashdown with drone footage and lo-fi music. Moral of the story. We're great at launching things and terrible at cleaning up. Point Nemo is proof. It's where dreams, data, and taxpayer dollars go to drown. A cosmic junkyard hidden in the deep, silent, cold, and filled with history. So next time you look up at the stars, remember, one day, everything we send up will fall back down. Even our best inventions end up sinking. This is Orbital Secrets. Subscribe before your favorite satellite gets its ocean burial.